And on this Memorial Day, we continue to talk about the ones that paid the ultimate sacrifice to the country. Let's talk about United States Air Force Major Leroy Homer Jr., United States Air Force class of 1987. Major Homer graduated pilot training and earned his Air Force wings in 1988. For the next several years, he served with honor and distinction, flying the C-141 Starlifter transport aircraft in the Gulf War and on humanitarian missions in Somalia. After achieving the rank of major, he continued his flying career as a civilian pilot with United Airlines. On September 11th, 2001, First Officer Homer was at the controls of Flight 93 when 4 Al-Qaeda terrorists attempted to hijack the plane. Major Homer was the first to fight back, sending mayday calls to ATC. He, along with 39 other Americans, revolted against the hijackers. In the struggle, the flight crashed into a field in Pennsylvania. Major Homer and his passengers united under incredible pressure in the first battle of the War on Terror. Homer's life of service, honor, and bravery is an inspiration to our newest United States Air Force officers, and we want to get to know a couple of them because on May 30th, after 4 years at the United States Air Force Academy, today's guests will march onto Falcon Stadium in Colorado Springs with 948 other members of the class of 2024. They will leave the stadium as second lieutenants in the United States Air Force, headed to grad school with follow-on training to their roles to defend the nation. We welcome them today as cadets, just days ahead of the graduation, and what a moment that will be. Congratulations to both of you, Adedapo and McKenna. Thank you again for your service and really everything that you have been doing to get to this moment.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, no problem. It is my honor, and I think it's such an honor for all of us, really, as viewers right now, to take part in YouTube right now. So first off, if I could just, McKenna, if I can start with you. When you hear about Major Homer and his life of service and everything that he did, not only in the Air Force, but then as his life as a pilot, what does that mean to you?
Just knowing that Major Homer did all that he did, both as a civilian prior to coming to the academy, and then as a cadet before becoming an officer, and then being the first officer on United Flight 93, it's just an honor to follow in his footsteps and to be in the same dorms, to be eating in the same dining hall that he is, where he had lived in, and being able to continue following in his footsteps going after graduation and giving our lives to our nation and just being able to serve everyone.
And for you, Ade, I feel like you have the same type of presence that you're feeling.
Yes, I would completely agree. The past 4 years here, we've learned a lot about grads who've served and paid the ultimate sacrifice. And each time it's very humbling to say, wow, like they went through this exact same experience that we're going through, and they were able to do that in their Air Force careers. So it's really an honor to say, okay, we've gone through the same thing. We can do the same thing as well and give back to our nation.
And McKenna, tell us about the journey. What has it been like these last 4 years?
It's definitely been an interesting time. We entered during COVID, and so then, we were the first service academy to enter basic cadet training after COVID had begun. And so we went through with an experience unlike nobody else's, went through with masks and everything, and then continuing through just getting to learn about the legacy that our graduates and other members of our United States military have gone through, and being able to try and emulate that as we have become cadets. And so it's just been an interesting experience, knowing that we have our own unique start to our cadet experience, but then also sharing it with so many others like us and having the opportunity to continue serving.
Yeah, it's so true that the first start, especially in the pandemic, had to be very challenging at times. But, you know, like they always say, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And Ade, I think you could speak to that a little as well.
Yeah, you're right. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. Like, we've really been struggling a lot these past 4 years. Academics are difficult, military is difficult, athletic is a little difficult as well. But all that together is making us better leaders of character that the Academy is forming us into. And I believe that as we're so close to graduation, everything we've gone through has prepared us to lead in our Air Force and Space Force.
And tell us, as we are just now days away from the graduation, what is that feeling going to be like? I know that you have to be already excited. McKenna, if you could just maybe talk about the lead up to this important day and what you will be doing after.
It is an incredible feeling right now because we've entered, and, you know, graduation is the end goal. Graduation is the final boss in a way of like making it to there and making sure that we are able to graduate and become officers. And so right now, it's almost like it doesn't feel real because we've waited for this moment for so long. But it's just an incredible feeling to know that in about 3 days, we are going to be throwing our hats in the air, our covers in the air as the Thunderbirds fly over, and to know that we are going to be commissioned as second lieutenants in the Air and Space Forces. And then afterwards, all of us are going to be doing different things. Some of us will be going to different trainings. But for Ade and I, we will both be going to graduate school. I'll be headed off to Purdue University to get my master's in aeronautical engineering. And then afterwards, I'll be headed off to pilot training.
Look at that. Very exciting. And Ade, speak a little bit about what you will be doing right after graduation.
Yes. So actually, immediately after graduation, everyone gets 60 days of paid leave. And so we all go to different places, enjoy and relax, and really recharge before entering our career fields. And so different plans for that. But for me, right after 60 days, I will be starting graduate school at Colorado State University, getting my master's in systems engineering. And then following that 18-month period, I will be joining the Air Force as a developmental engineer.
That is so amazing and so exciting, and it has to be, like I was saying, just a moment here where you can't wait for the next steps, really, of your life and your career, and of course the service to our great nation. I want to talk a little bit more on this Memorial Day about those that paid the ultimate sacrifice and what it means as you have been going through these last 4 years and knowing of those really monumental people in our country that did pay that ultimate sacrifice. Talk a little bit about the feelings on this Memorial Day, because so many Americans, of course, they know the importance of Memorial Day, but they also partake in other things like, you know, grilling out and having the day off. But tell us from your point of view what it means to you on this Memorial Day. And McKenna, you could start.
Yes, for us on Memorial Day, it is, like you said, the beginning of summer for so many, but it is also a somber moment as we remember those who did give those lives. And also, I think it strikes home a little bit more with us as cadets, because we know that could also be us in the future. That could be our classmates, as is inevitable, but is also the reason why we chose to give the ultimate sacrifice for our country, if that is what our country requires of us. During Memorial Day, it's just important for us to remember that it really is about those who have died serving to protect our freedoms, and just knowing that, you know, that could be us one day too, if that is what our country requires.
Yeah, so true and so humbling at the same time. Ade?
Yes, I'd say from basic, the idea of us giving our lives has already been, you know, instilled in us. It's been something that we look forward to say, okay, if that is what is required of us, it's what we will do. And so just seeing that build, and we learn more about our graduates, learn more about the Air Force, and learn more about people who have paid that sacrifice, it honestly just makes it more real on Memorial Day to know, like, yes, like, this has happened and it will continue to happen because freedom in this nation is meant to be protected, and we are the ones that are here and ready to do so.
That is so well said, and I think so many people watching this are just so proud and, of course, happy for both of you. Now I want to talk a little bit about really these past 4 years. Not only have you been committed to your studies and other endeavors as well, but you had to take time for family time as well. How have you guys really juggled not only academics, but also having some time, not only for family time, but also personal time as well? And McKenna, if you want to start it off.
Yes, it is definitely a difficult balance, and it is something that you learn your freshman year. Starting out, you're swamped by so many different things, and you need to realize that in order to maintain that personal balance and to maintain wellness within yourself, you have to take some time. So for me, I focus a lot on calling my family at home, and during breaks, if I'm able to, going and seeing my family.
All right, and Ade?
Yes, I'd say that there's kind of like two answers to this. One, we have our family here as well. Like, from basic, you go through those hard times with people in your squadron, and then you move squadrons, and then you still get closer to those people as well. And your family is just constantly around you here at the academy. And we know that we're going through hard times, but we're going through it together. And that in itself gets us to wake up each morning and know that, okay, we're not doing it just for ourselves, but we're doing it for those around us. And additionally, like, family at home, they're always going to be there for us. We know that. We love them. And so being able to let them know that as often as possible has been a goal of mine. Like weekly calls on Sunday with the family, and just having time to say, like, yeah, like, things are difficult here, but hey, like, how are you doing? How, you know, things are probably difficult at home too. Tell me about that, and really get into talk about it with people who may not be here as well.
Yeah, very.
If I could jump in real quick,
yeah,
sorry.
Jump in.
I would also just say that's one thing that makes graduation so bittersweet is because, you know, we're so excited to graduate, but there's so many people that we're going to be leaving behind, or, you know, we're going to be all going our separate ways. And so it is going to be sad not seeing like my friends every day and being able to be lived down the hallway from them. But I also think that's what makes this place so special, and also just the bonds of the military in general.
Yeah, so true. And having that community and that support has to go such a long way, that knowing that you may separate and you may go your different paths, but at the same time, you'll always be the class of 2024 together. And I think that is a big moment there where you all will share, of course, in Colorado. Now I want to talk a little, I want you guys to talk maybe to, let's say, the 12 or the 13-year-old that is watching this right now. And I want you to speak to them as if they might be thinking, okay, maybe I do want a life in the military. It doesn't have to be in the Air Force. It could be at one of the other branches. But what would you say maybe to that 12 or 13-year-old that is thinking about making that big life decision?
I would say go for it, 100%. The military has offered me so many different things. Like I said, like we were just saying, it has offered us a new family and a broad connection just across the military. Even if you don't know someone in one of the other services, then you're able to at least have a connection with them simply by being in the military, but also just being able to offer that mental, that physical, and character development throughout has done so much for me and so much for my classmates. And then also it's an opportunity to give back to your country and just to be able to serve. And like Ade has said, like protecting our freedoms.
Yeah, so true. And Ade?
Yeah, I would add to that by saying, you know, look to those who've come before us. Like we're talking about Major Homer and people who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. You can look to their lives and see how they eventually decided to join the military. Like if you're interested in becoming a pilot, well, Major Homer started getting his private pilot's license when he was 15 years old. And so just things like that, learning about the people who have come before us and have set that stage for us to be able to join the military, I think is something that can get a lot of people interested in the military, because at the end of the day, like, if they haven't done it, then we wouldn't be able to do it as well. So being able to appreciate that and then take that step forward to say yes or no, I choose to do that as well.
Yeah, that is so well said. And Ade and McKenna, thank you so much for joining us on Live Now from Fox and giving us your reflections on this Memorial Day, but also looking to the future in your own lives and careers, of course, supporting and defending our great country. We really appreciate it. And, you know, there's TV shows that has heroes, there's movies that has heroes, but it's nice to talk to some real life heroes right here. So thank you so much for joining us on Live Now from Fox on this really, really important day and sharing your stories.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us. We're humbled and really appreciative to share this day with the American people, and also to appreciate those like Major Homer who have set the stage for us. And it's really humbling to be able to talk about them today.
Yeah, so true. And we're so glad that you guys could be here. And also, congratulations coming up in just days on your commencement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Senior Chief Gregory on board USS Baton, and to me, Memorial Day is a great way for the country to come together and remember all those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice to defend our freedoms.
Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Antonio Vargas, Lieutenant Junior Grade Vargas at that. I'm the gunnery officer and the ordnance officer on board USS Normandy, serving on the U.S. Navy. So Memorial Day is a very important day for a lot of people in America, especially for us that serve. It's a day when we get to recognize those who have given their life for us to be in the position that we are today. And we are in a beautiful position. It's a beautiful day, as you can see behind me. So Memorial Day for me, what it means is, hey, somebody gave their life once so we can live a better life. And I'm ready to do the same.
And on this Memorial Day, we continue to honor and remember the lives that paid the ultimate sacrifice to our great country. And we also want to highlight the achievements of current U.S. service members. So we want to bring in our next guest here with the U.S. Navy. This is Kyle Hearing. Thanks so much for joining us on Live Now from Fox.
Thank you so much for having me, sir.
And Kyle, for our viewers, we just want to know what Memorial Day means to you.
For me, Memorial Day is just a day of remembrance for all the men and women that made the ultimate sacrifice for not only me, but everybody here in the Navy and all the armed forces that paid that price for their country and just died for something worth it, you know?
Yeah, that's so true. And being in the military, obviously, it's a huge dedication. If you could just maybe explain to our viewers just a little bit about that dedication and how you go about your day in the Navy.
Yes, sir. The hard days are hard. It's harder than most jobs, but when it's hard, it comes with good days as well. So I really just take the good with the bad a lot of the times and take everything with a grain of salt. But it's a blessing every single day that I'm able to wake up and be able to serve my country and be here with some great people and learn a lot of new things every single day.
Oh, I'm so sure of it. And it has to be so fulfilling as well, knowing that you are serving something much, much greater than yourself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Every single day I'm able to put on this uniform, I don't take it lightly. I do not take it lightly at all. It is less than 1% of the entire nation is able to do this. So for me to have this opportunity to wear this uniform and represent something way, way bigger than myself is truly, truly a blessing. It really is.
Yeah, that is so true. And I'm glad you said that about the 1%, because there are some people in the country, they don't have family members that are in the military. They don't know people in the military. If you could just give our viewers just a glimpse of what military life means to you.
For me, military life is, that's a good question. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. Like I said, it's a lot of ups and downs. A lot of days where, you know, you're struggling. You know, you're away from home and you're missing your family. You're missing a lot of events and everything. But you know, just those good days that come with the military, those really what keep you going and allow you to keep pushing, knowing that it's a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I have a great support system back home, and I'm just blessed every single day be able to lean on my family and friends, because a lot of times they don't understand what's going on, but they just trust me and they support me through and through. So it's a blessing.
It really, really is. And Kyle, thanks so much for everything that you do, your dedication to our country. So many Americans thinking about you and so many others in the U.S. Navy and the rest of our great military. We appreciate it every day, and we hope that you feel the same.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your support.
Hi, I'm Kyle Elam, MM2 Elam. Memorial Day means the sacrifice that everybody before me and after me will give. And it's just a day to really remember everything that has basically been given, sacrificed. And it's just a day to really recognize people who have given the ultimate sacrifice, and those who serve our country.
Hospital Corpsman First Class Monteri's mentor. What Memorial Day means to me is it's just a representation of the many service members that came before me to establish freedom and democracy throughout the world, and protecting the Constitution, and just paved the way for guys like myself and my shipmates and my fellow Marines, soldiers, everybody. They just laid the foundation and the groundwork for us to continue fighting for the freedoms and democracies that we have today.
Hi, my name is FC2 Nicholas Hanley, and Memorial Day is all about honoring our troops and remember those who have fallen.
Hi, it's AM2 Alyssa Jupiter on board USS Baton. Memorial Day means to me is that I get to represent and fight for the freedom that we all get to experience here today, as well as living in the honor that my aunt had when she joined the Navy.
And on this Memorial Day, we continue to honor and remember the lives that paid the ultimate sacrifice to our country. But we also want to continue to look at our service members right now that continue to defend our great country, and we want to continue to talk with them. So let's bring in our next guest of this hour. This is Josh Cortez with the U.S. Navy, 3rd Class Petty Officer. Thanks so much for being with us today.
No problem. Thank you for having me. Pleasure.
And tell us what made you want to join the Navy?
It's a great service for me and for my country. I'm first generation American for my family. I came from a family of immigrants, and for me it's a great honor to be able to serve this great country with all the opportunities that I've been given, especially with me being able to go to college. That's something that's never been done for my family, so I just really enjoy the opportunity to be able to give something back to my country.
That is such an amazing dedication and an amazing way to serve our country. Josh, do you feel that you're making your own mark within your family when you put on your suit and you start your day each day?
Absolutely. I can definitely say that every day when I wake up, I put on my uniform, and it's a reminder of everything that I've accomplished. Right now, I've only done 4 years, but for me, for my family, it feels like it's been a long time. But for me, it's just, one little step at a time. And I feel, if everyone could do it, they would do it. So that's one way I look at it.
Yeah, that's so true. And give us, our viewers, a little insight of how you have to balance, of course, military life, but also family life as well.
So, sometimes you do get to miss out sometimes on the events that matter the most to family. You'll miss birthday parties, you'll miss Christmas, sometimes you'll miss holidays with Thanksgiving. And sometimes it can be stressful. Being away from family for so long, after coming back from deployment, coming back from an underway, sometimes communication can be a little bit choppy. But, you find that balance with your work family over here, because family is camaraderie, and family is something you will find very often here or with it, whether it's a close friend, whether it's your higher up. You find a balance in between. That's what I believe.
Yeah, that's so true, and we're so appreciative of your service and dedication to our country. It's so great to meet you, and continue to stay safe, and thanks again for everything that you do and your team.
It's all my pleasure. I hope I can continue serving my country, and hopefully I'll be able to eventually retire at some point.
Yes, that is the main goal. Continue to stay safe, and thanks for everything for that you do. We appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Thank you very much for having me.
I'm Lieutenant J.G. Shanaz Halverson. I'm a chaplain on board, and Memorial Day means taking the time to honor the fallen.
Hi, my name is HM1 Allison Frederick. Memorial Day means to me that I am not only honoring and remembering the sacrifice of my predecessors, but also celebrating what they have done for the country and for me, and making it possible for me to be here today.
Krista Toby, Gunner's Mate First Class. Memorial Day means to me is the ultimate sacrifice for our country, of our men and women of this nation, and all of the people in this nation.
And on this Memorial Day, we continue to remember and honor those that paid the ultimate sacrifice to our great country. And all throughout the day, we want to continue to talk to service members and hear from them what this day means to them. And as we continue to do so, let's bring in our next guest here. This is Brooks Gregory with the U.S. Navy Senior Chief. Thanks so much for joining us on Live Now from Fox.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So let's get right into it here. First off, just tell our viewers how long you've been with the Navy and why you joined.
So I've been in the United States Navy for 21 years now, and I joined shortly after September 11th due to the attacks in New York City.
And that is just a terrible day that so many of Americans remember, and really so many around the world. And when you saw those images on that day, you felt the need to do something greater.
Oh, absolutely. So I come from a long legacy of family members that have served in the Navy. So it was definitely right in line with our family tradition to serve the call for the nation. So especially as soon as 9/11 happened, I said I've got to go sooner because I was actually in college and decided to stop college and hurry up and join. That way I could help out wherever I was needed.
Yeah, that is so great, and we're so thankful that you continue to defend our great country. And when we talk about Memorial Day and hearing about the ones that came before us, do you feel that type of legacy every day that you suit up?
Oh, absolutely. Not just especially for Memorial Day, but just for everyday service. I really do feel that serving in the United States Navy is an honor, and it really is my duty in order to defend the Constitution and the country.
It's so true, and it's so admirable as well. And Brooks, if you can tell us just how life has changed as you progressed within the Navy from when you started to post 9/11. So much has happened in this country since then.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely been a change in both the dynamics of the country and in the military. The military is just a microcosm of society, so we really have to change with times. And in the last 21 years, we've seen a lot of personnel changes and just kind of the military having to keep up with society. So, the more senior I became, I really had to adjust my leadership style and make sure that I was staying relevant in order to lead the newer sailors coming in today.
That's so true, and we're so thankful for everything that you've done and continue to do for our country. Brooks Gregory, thanks so much for joining us, not only on this Memorial Day, but continuing to protect our country. We appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Welcome back. You're watching Live Now from Fox. As we honor those who paid the ultimate sacrifice to serve our country on this Memorial Day, we also want to shine a spotlight on those who are grieving and in some cases carrying some immense guilt. I'd like to welcome into our program now Lindsay T. Catch. She is the mental health director at the Wounded Warrior Project. Lindsay, thanks so much for taking the time. I'd like you to start by defining for our viewers what survivor's guilt is.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate being here and discussing this really important topic. I think before I discuss survivor's guilt, it's important to just know what Memorial Day is. And Memorial Day is where we are able to honor those servicemen and women who died as a result of protecting our country and fighting for our freedom. And so while folks this weekend are out celebrating and having barbecues and being with their families, it's really important to remember those that made that possible and to honor them. And with that comes, though, unfortunately, is we see often a lot of our servicemen and women having survivor's guilt, which is that feeling and the memories and the symptoms associated with coming home when so many of your brothers and sisters that you served with weren't able to. And that's a form of trauma. And it's normal for folks to exhibit symptoms like post-traumatic stress disorder when they have survivor's guilt or other forms of trauma incurred when they were servicing.
So Lindsay, for our veterans who are perhaps feeling that survivor's guilt, not just on Memorial Day, but every day, what kind of mental health guidance would you give them to help them go through that process of grief?
Sure, that's a great question. I would say the most important thing that anybody can take from this is you are not alone. And that is going to be key. Connection is key. When we look at what type of symptoms are associated with survivor's guilt, with post-traumatic stress disorder, it's things like insomnia, nightmares, isolation, avoidance, anxiety, and stress. These are all things that nobody should have to face alone, and they don't need to face alone. And so at Wounded Warrior Project, we have a spectrum of services that are really geared to meet that veteran or their family members where they're at in their journey. There is no one-size-fits-all approach. And so we have to have programs that are both clinical and non-clinical. And so, again, we can meet them where they're at in their journey and focus a tailor-made plan that is going to be, focus on whatever they need in that moment. And we have mental health programs, we have physical health programs, financial programs, everything to really just figure out what's going on with this situation. How can we help this person where they're at and get them to a place of safety and a place of wellness?
An important point that I think that you just made is that people going through this grief, they're not alone, and it's important to reach out and have that support system. So I want to turn the attention now to family and friends that want to be there for their loved ones as they're processing this grief, and sometimes they don't know how to do that. So what are some of the best methods? What are things that they can do to make sure that they are effectively helping their loved ones?
Well, there's the obvious one, right? Be there. Be there as a support. But something that we see often at Wounded Warrior Project that doesn't get as much attention, if you will, is the importance of taking care of yourself. You have to be able to you have to be in a good place so that you can help others. And I'd like to talk, if you don't mind, a little bit about the programs and services we offer, because those are also offered to our family members, to those those family service members and support members, because we know that it's important. If you're going to be able to care for somebody else and be able to take that on, you have to be in a good place too. I mentioned earlier, we have this, continuum of services at Wounded Warrior Project, and they start with lower, less intense options that are telephonic and coaching support. That's a great program, not only for a veteran, but for a family member who's, in the process of trying to be there for somebody. It gives them an opportunity to have somebody to talk to go through different, approaches and goals and things like that. We also have more clinical options like outpatient therapy for both that veteran so that they can, work through some of the issues that are associated with that survival guilt or PTSD or other types of trauma. But it's also, again, available to that family member who may be supporting them. And it could be an individualized therapy, it could be in couples therapy, or even family therapy. Because what we didn't mention thus far, but it's important for us to do, it is not uncommon for these issues to impact the entire household. There are children often in these households that they also need support too, as mom or dad may be working through these issues. So we offer that as well. And then we also have our intensive outpatient programs. It's a partnership. It's our Warrior Care Network. It's 4 academic medical centers that really focus on bringing that veteran in for accelerated care to do different types of therapy that's tailor-made to them. Could be exposure therapy, art therapy, whatever they need. They bring that family member into that as well so that they can learn the best way to support their veteran and to support themselves.
So speaking on some more of these services that the Wounded Warriors Project does have available, can you maybe walk us through what someone is going to see, the process when they first start to reach out for that help? Because sometimes the hardest part can be even asking for that help and knowing where to go, the guidance. So where can they go and what would that look like throughout?
I'm so glad that you asked this question because one, you're spot on. That can be the biggest hurdle is just asking for help. And we know that avoidance is a symptom of trauma. So we try to make it as easy as possible. You can reach out through several different ways. You can contact our resource center. You can go to our website, woundedwarriorproject.org, to register. If you're already registered with us, same thing. You can go to our website. You can contact that number. Once you do that and you say, hey, look, I need help, because not everybody knows what they need. It's not common that somebody calls into it and says, I think I need trauma-based treatment. No, they just know I don't want to feel like this anymore. And that's where we can step in. So once they make that first step, and that's all you have to do is make that first step, we have a team of dedicated mental health specialists that really act as that concierge service. They will then work with you within a day of you reaching out to figure out what's the best way to meet your needs, what's going to be the best program to support you, where are you at in your journey, what have you tried before that maybe didn't work, or what have you tried before that did work, so that we can connect you to the most appropriate level of care. And that might not just be mental health. It's not horribly and sadly, it's not uncommon that folks may reach out and say, I don't want to feel like this anymore, but I've struggled to find care because I'm also struggling to pay my mortgage. And so we have many programs there that we can step in. It's not just mental health. So that team will really work as that concierge service. They're going to figure out how to get you connected, how to not throw too many things at once to you, and really to kind of hierarchy the needs here, address, what's going on and tailor make this plan for you. And then also follow up just to make sure, did you get connected? Are you satisfied? We've seen where a lot of veterans fall off after that. And so we ensure that that doesn't happen by making sure that we're staying connected with them and that we're finding ways to, again, connect them to programs and services to help them feel that hope again, to find the purpose that they might not be feeling at that time.
Lindsay, I'd like to get your final thoughts here as we finish our discussion, because when we talk about mental health, there's so many things that need to be addressed. So anything that you feel that you have to say that maybe we didn't touch on yet, maybe some final words to veterans or their families and friends on this Memorial Day?
Sure. I would say the main thing that I hope everybody takes away from this conversation is you are not alone, and we are here to help. We are here to honor those that served and made the ultimate sacrifice this weekend. And for those that came home and are struggling with that, we are here. We are here to help. You are not alone. All you have to do is just pick up the phone and say, I need help, and we will take it from there. We will take the guesswork out of it. We will help you navigate it, and we will be there to support not only you, but your family member as well.
And sometimes that really is the one thing that someone who is struggling needs to hear. Lindsay T. Catch, the mental health director for the Wounded Warriors Project, we appreciate your time here at Live Now from Fox to really shine a spotlight on such an important topic on this Memorial Day.
And on this Memorial Day, we continue to honor and remember the lives that paid the ultimate sacrifice for our great country. But we also want to learn a little bit more about the families that not only continue to grieve, but continue to honor their loved ones that paid that ultimate sacrifice. So I want to bring in two very important guests right here on Live Now from Fox. This is Pam Stemple and Patty Elliott with American Gold Star Mothers. Thank you again for joining us on Live Now from Fox and really taking time on this day of this Memorial Day.
Thank you.
So first off, I have to just ask, obviously this is a very, very hard day for you. If you just want to maybe explain and talk about your loved ones, I would love to get a little, and our viewers to know a little bit more about them.
Well, my hero was Sergeant First Class Thomas Avey. He was in the Army, and he died March 29, 2015. And, one of my things that I have pushed this year is remembering the dash, the dash between the day they were born and the day they died. And so don't always just feel that pain of the last day. Let's celebrate their life. And so that's one of the things that I have been doing since Thomas died 9 years ago. And but it's hard on a day like today to remember that, because, when you look at all of the stones throughout our country that have a hero's name on them, of course we remember that they also served. And so that makes it difficult. But, I guess, I'm just here because, my son served. He was an awesome kid. He was an amazing man. And, he signed on that dotted line himself. And, he wasn't, he didn't even think twice after 9/11. He just went right in and served. So I wish everyone could have met him. He had a beautiful smile. He was funny. He was 6'4", so he was a big boy. And, I can't say enough things. We could talk forever. So I should probably turn it over to Patty, since she's going to talk about her son.
My son was Specialist Daniel Lucas Elliott. He was a military policeman in the Army, and he was killed on July 15th, 2011 in Iraq. And just like Pam's son, he was bit by the bug that he wanted to serve our country and fight for the freedom and liberty that we enjoy as Americans after watching the events of 9/11 unfold. So it kind of the same path that sparked their interest for both boys. And on a day like today, for me, it's about, we as Americans have been asking our children for thousands of years to fight for that freedom and liberty. And so it's honoring the sacrifices of all those people and never letting it be forgotten what other families, not just the two of us, but other families throughout America have been suffering through for years.
Yeah, that's so true, and I'm so glad that you were able to put that in perspective. And first off, I want to thank you both for your strength on this day to once again talk about your loved ones. And I think it's really important too to continue to talk about them when so many people, on this Memorial Day, there's so many people in this country that don't know military members, don't have any anyone in their family. So on this Memorial Day, a lot of them use the day off to celebrate with, have barbecues and stuff like that, have the day off. But this day is so much more than just that, right?
Yes. I've always said, in my family in particular, and I'm sure Patty, being a military family, we would on Memorial Day go out and go to cemeteries, just our little family, Thomas included, and we would, with his sisters and, his dad and I, we would go out to cemeteries first thing on Memorial Day morning, and I know a lot of our citizens do that, and they place flags. I don't know, we used to do 3 apiece. And so we would find veterans, just a normal cemetery. It wouldn't be at a VA cemetery, for instance. We would go to a local cemetery and we would put flags down and say their names. And so, that's one of the things we did to honor that morning, especially of the Memorial Day Monday. And then if we had family over, we'd have a barbecue because they fought for our freedoms to be able to have that day off. Unfortunately, for that reason, but I don't want anyone to forget what this day is for. But Memorial Day traditionally in America is the kickoff to summer. We all know that. We can't pretend like we don't. And so but we have to stop during the day, sometime on Memorial Day. All of the U.S. citizens out there just stop and just say their names, think about them, say a moment of silence or something to honor our, not just our kids this year, but those in the past as well.
And it's easy, if you don't, and for me personally, I really didn't have my family, Pam didn't say this, but I will for her. She's retired from the Navy, so she's a veteran also. I didn't have that strong legacy in my family of military service, so we didn't do those types of things. So if for those folks who don't have someone that they know that has passed, it's just as simple as sitting down and doing a Google search for fallen heroes, and they can find the names of heroes that they can speak their name. It doesn't have to be somebody that you know from your community or your town. You can find the name of a hero to not let them be forgotten.
Yeah, that is so true, and I'm so glad that you mentioned that. I think this is a perfect opportunity now to learn a little bit more about American Gold Star Mothers. Talk about the organization and the support for families that have lost someone.
Well, American Gold Star Mothers was founded almost 100 years ago in 1928. Grace Darling Seabold is our founder. She lost, her son, George. He was in World War I and he was a flyer. And in 1918, he disappeared in a flight. And so he was missing. So, she was going to she's from DC here in the District of Columbia, and she would go over to Walter Reed and walk the halls and ask these men there who were, if they knew George. And so the bottom line was, she was looking for her son because in those days, everyone wrote letters and she wasn't hearing from him. And so she found out when she went to the VA, it really wasn't a VA then, it was a military hospital. She found out how all of these men need help that were in the hospital, and she wanted to serve them and help them. And that's kind of our mission still to this day, is we are a veteran service organization. We're chartered by Congress, and we are just like the American Legion and the VFWs and those out there, we have a charter to serve veterans. And so that is one of the things that we still do and will continue to do. And I guess, life is, it's hard when you lose your child, but with American Gold Star Mothers, you can do service. And that's one of our main things in the VA and in our communities. So we help veterans, active duty, and our mothers in our organization as well.
The way I look at it is that we are standing in that gap of service. If our children were still here and were still serving, they would be advocating for benefits for veterans and making sure that their brothers and sisters in arms received those benefits that they needed and the assistance that they needed, and working with the Gold Star community to make sure that their surviving families were getting all of the things they were entitled to. And so our child is not here to do that service, so it's our responsibility to continue in their honor and carry on their mission. Their mission is done. Yeah, every day that we're allowed to take another breath, we still have something that we need to accomplish, and taking care of our military and our veterans is so important.
Yeah, it's so
And once you get up off the couch, this is one of my things, once you get up off the couch, because it's hard to take that first step and go out and serve someone else other than yourself, you will quickly find that it's not that you never forget about your hero. You know, it's not like you're not thinking about them. Because I always say it's like I have a little hum in the back of my head. It's just it's always there. And, Thomas is always back there. And, but to get off the couch and go help someone else, it takes away your constant, like, I don't want to say grief. It's more like you're helping someone else, and you can find that it really helps you in the long run to help someone else, especially someone in uniform or someone who has been in uniform. So, you can hear some of the stories. Patty went to an event the other day, and she just mentioned to me, I've got allergies, I'm sorry. She mentioned to me how she was listening to the stories of the veterans talking to each other. And how awesome is that? That they're still telling stories from the old days, and she got to hear it. So that's one of the things that for service that we really push, so that the moms will get out there, the mothers will get out there and help others.
Yeah, that's so true. Of keeping, of course, the legacy alive is so important. I have to ask you too about every family dynamic is different, but for American Gold Star mothers, there's a common theme and a common thread that really unites all of you. What have you found within each other that continues your support and strength during these hard times?
That one's tough. Yeah, that is a deeply personal experience. To be able to walk into a room like most of our members, they're in chapters in local communities, and to be able to walk into that room and everyone sitting there understands. When you go out and you speak to the community or you speak to someone who's not experienced a loss, you're expected to tell the story of your child and their loss. And that is heartbreaking and gut-wrenching to do. But when you walk in a room where there are other mothers who have experienced that loss, they immediately understand, and you can just look at each other and you don't have to say a word. Yeah. And so just having that bond and that warm, fuzzy feeling of that shared experience gives you that strength. And that's one of the things that, for me, getting involved with American Gold Star Mothers, those women who traveled this path before me, when I walked into my first meeting, they taught me how to handle this with grace and dignity.
Yeah, that is so important and so just well said. And I wonder if you two have heard that country song by Justin Moore, The Ones That Didn't Make It Back Home. I tend to always want to listen to it on Memorial Day, but it always strikes a chord with me anytime I really hear it, because I think about the ones like for you two that continue your life on as after that, of course, that your loved ones haven't. And I have to ask you, there's a chorus, a part in the chorus there that really, I think, strikes a lot of people, and it talks about they're doing much better upstairs, but there's still a big hole down here. And I wonder, does that hole ever narrow as the years go on, or is it still that big void?
when you said that, the first thing I thought of, no, that hole's still there. Because, you know, we always say, you know, you love them so much that when they're gone, that love has nowhere to go because now it's in heaven, you know. So I always envision a hole or a line or something that I know, you know, that is still out there. But I will say, when you're, you know, like we talked about the service, and when you're busy doing some work, and that little hum I talked about in the back of my head is just constant. There are days when we all wake up, and I'm 9 years out, Patty, you're 13 years out. We have Vietnam moms that are still in our organization that are 50 plus years out from the, you know, they've been a Gold Star mother for that long without their children. And you can still see some days when there's something going on. If we have our convention and they're looking at our crowd of 100 women in white, let's say, that show up to an event, you can see in their face, like Patty said, we're among each other's group. You know, we all know it, but those older moms are looking at us and going, oh man, they got a long road to go. And but for us, in the beginning, we'll call it, and we look at them, we think we can do it. If they've got the strength to do it, we can do it. And it's just, you know, getting involved. We would love to see all Gold Star mothers join for that camaraderie of American Gold Star mothers. So, but I don't think the hole ever goes away. It's kind of like a wave we talk about. I even bought a little wave ring once, because some days you get up and you're good to go and you're ready to charge on. And some days you wake up and you feel like you got a heavy coat on, like in a song it talks about, you know, feels like, and that's true. It is like a heavy coat some days. I've called Patty before and been like, today ain't a good day. You know, I'm having a hard day today. And she'll do the same. And we just kind of hear what each other has to say, and, you know, and maybe, hey, I got your back, you know, whatever you need. And that's what we need to do. So I don't think the hole ever goes away. It just ebbs and flows a little bit.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so true. And I'd like to ask you to, if people that are watching this and they want to support, there's so many ways to support, of course, your organization and others like Wreaths Across America that do such a great job of continuing that legacy and continuing the name so that they are never forgotten. What are some ways that people could get involved and help out if they want to and feel be a part of the ones that paid the ultimate sacrifice as well?
So our website is AmericanGoldStarMothers.org. You can go onto the site and find if there are local chapters in your area and the contact person for that chapter. If you have trouble finding a chapter in your area, you can email us at info at AmericanGoldStarMothers.org, and we can help get you connected to others who are in your area. We have all kinds of initiatives all year long that we can get you the information on, where the community has the opportunity to help support projects we're doing, service projects. For example, we have one project in conjunction with an organization called Veterans Last Patrol, where we do holiday cards for veterans who are in hospice care. That's something that anyone can get involved with and help us make that experience a little easier for those folks. So we have opportunities like that for the community to get involved throughout the year, and we can get you on a distribution list to receive that information. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's so great, and I think and I hope a lot of people will continue and want to help out and any way that they possibly can. And Pam and Patty, thank you again so much for the opportunity to speak with both of you on this very, very hard day, but also a day that's very important in our country to remember the lives lost, like your two sons that paid the ultimate sacrifice to our great country. And we really appreciate the time that we spoke. I really enjoyed the conversation and hope to speak to you two soon again.
Thank you. Anytime you want to talk about American Gold Star mothers, you just let us know.
I so will. And our Memorial Day coverage will continue next.